Good morning, and thank you so much for coming today. My husband and I really wish that we could be there with you this morning, but unfortunately our household has been struck by illness and we're not able to make it. But we're really happy to have the opportunity to still share our JW House story with you. It started last September when we went for our 20-week routine ultrasound. Matt, my husband, and I were very excited, and we hoped to learn the gender of our third child. But the expression on the technician's face told us that something was wrong. There was whispering, and we heard a few key words that we wouldn't really understand until later. We learned from the doctor that afternoon that our son had an abdominal wall defect called an omphalocele, causing some of his organs, liver and intestine in his case, to grow on the outside of his body. We were devastated. We were sick with worry. We were not sure what the future held for our unborn child. And adding to our worries at this time, the doctors had told us that at some point in the pregnancy, I was going to have to relocate to be closer to Kaiser in Santa Clara. I was at risk for a preterm delivery based on my previous pregnancies, and our baby was going to need very specialized care and could not be delivered in Modesto. So now we had the additional worry about how we were going to relocate our family for what could be several months. It just was overwhelming, to tell you the truth. We were very open about it, and we posted on Facebook, and one of Matt's old high school friends, whom he hadn't spoken to in probably 20 years, replied and said, "Hey, if you're going to be at Kaiser in Santa Clara, you should check out JW House." And that referral came at the perfect time. In early November, after our doctor's appointment at Kaiser, we walked over to JW House and had a tour and ate lunch there. When we walked in the first time, we were so overwhelmed, and not only that we would have a place to stay, but that we could stay in a place that was so filled with light and warmth. My due date was late January, but the doctors expected that I would probably deliver in late December. Our plan was to move to Santa Clara and stay at JW House in early December. But on the night of November 22nd, at not quite 30 weeks, I went into labor. The hospital in Modesto was able to stop the labor, and they transferred me to Santa Clara that night. By the next day, Matt and our two older children, Philomena and Zachariah, were moved into the JW House. All through December, I was in and out of the hospital, back and forth to JW House. And I was supposed to be on bed rest because with all the complications the baby was already facing, a premature delivery had to be avoided. But unfortunately, Matt was having a really hard time taking off additional time off work. And so I was at JW House with two very active kids who were a little stir-crazy. They would go into the backyard and play, and I would lay in the window seat in the Alexander room, which has a beautiful view into the backyard at JW House, and I would watch them play. And pretty soon, it always happened that they would sneak out of my eyesight, and it would get quiet, and I would go and look for them, and I would find them with a volunteer working a puzzle, or playing a game, or painting Miss April's toes, or Miss Siobhan was braiding Philomena's hair, something. They were such a godsend to us. Maximilian was born on January 6th, about 6.5 weeks after we arrived in Santa Clara. Originally, the pediatric surgeon had estimated that Max would need to stay in the NICU for about 8 weeks, but our little Maximilian did beautifully, and he was discharged from the NICU at only 4 days old. Part of the reason the doctors were willing to discharge him at such an early date was that they knew that we were at JW House and we were close by in case there was a problem. We were able to go home to Modesto when he was only 2 weeks old. This was practically unheard of with his condition. So altogether, we were at JW House for 8.5 weeks. The outcome of our particular medical crisis is rare. Most babies with Max's medical issues don't do nearly as well as he has been doing. We consider it a miracle. In fact, we call him Miracle Max. And I know that we would not have had such a great outcome if it weren't for JW House. I know that I would not have made it to 37 weeks pregnant if not for the people, the staff, the volunteers at JW House. They kept my kids busy and happy, and I know that helped me to stay pregnant longer, allowed me the rest that I was needing. It is the people at JW House that make it so amazing. It's the volunteers who come every week, and sometimes multiple times per week. They give so much of themselves and so much of their time. And now we just really want to give back, which is why we really wanted to be there today in person. I know we're just one of so many families that need JW House, and we feel called to help. The staff and the volunteers were such a beautiful witness to us. They gave of themselves so totally. It was amazing to watch. We can all choose to do that in some way. Some of us may not have the time to give, and some of us may not have the money to give, but there's something that everybody can do. It may seem small to you, but it can be life-changing for somebody else. Please help us support Jan Willem's dream and help us to give hope to another family like ours. Thank you.